who are coming on, you should be coming on muted. However, if you could double check that, that would be fantastic. We should only have speakers who are unmuted at this point. And as I'm the only one speaking at this point, I'm the only one unmuted at this point. So we want to welcome you to our Massachusetts Corporate Welcome Brunch, where we'll be welcoming new entries to Massachusetts in 2019. So as many of you are aware, this is an annual event that we hold. It's typically in person, and we typically hold it in the spring, but we're recognizing companies that have arrived the prior year. So in 2020, in April, we were set to have a welcome at the headquarters of Sanofi in Cambridge, and then of course the pandemic came on. So we have 2019 welcome entries to welcome today, and at some point, hopefully in the near future, and hopefully in person, we'll have a corporate welcome for our 2020 new entries as well. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. I want to thank our sponsors, Open Cape and Langen, for stepping up and supporting this event and supporting MassEcon. We really appreciate what you do. Both organizations, Open Cape and Langen, are members of MassEcon, and we appreciate their membership, and we certainly appreciate their support for this event. So thank you. A little bit for some of you who are new to MassEcon, our job at MassEcon is to promote and champion Massachusetts as the best place to start, grow, and locate a business. And we're really focused on this type of growth in an equitable way across the Commonwealth, and supporting diverse communities as we do so. And what does that mean? We're a nonprofit organization. We're not part of state government, but we work very closely with the Commonwealth, and we market Massachusetts beyond our borders. We provide site location services on behalf of the Commonwealth and 2 prospect companies. We develop actionable research for our partners. We bring private sector expertise to support business expansions across Massachusetts, and we also recognize growing businesses in Massachusetts, and that's one of the reasons why we're here this morning. And as noted, we have a wonderful relationship, and we're part of a great team, and that's Team Massachusetts. And that team is led by Secretary Mike Keneally, who we'll be hearing from in a few minutes. We are the non-government part of this team, but we work incredibly well in great partnership to help Team Massachusetts work with companies to grow and expand in Massachusetts. And I know a lot of members of Team Massachusetts are on the call today, notably Peter Milano, Senior Director at the Mass Office of Business Development. I saw him on. Dan Rivera, President and CEO of Mass Development, which also a team member, and they're also a member of MassEcon. And I know there are others on board. I think Mark Sullivan from the Mass Office of International Trade and Investment is also on. And so I want to thank them for joining us, and again, thank them for working with us on all these great opportunities. So noted, this is typically an in-person event, and we certainly hope to get back to in-person events very soon. And in fact, this is really our last sort of virtual event, sizable event on our schedule. And at the close of the meeting, we'll be sharing some information about some other events coming up. But we certainly look forward to getting back together. And whenever we do, as an organization, welcoming new companies in Massachusetts, all of you who are a part of this virtual event, you'll certainly be invited to that live in-person event when we get something on the schedule. And as we have to recognize 2020 entries to Massachusetts as well, we're hoping in the fall of this year. Massachusetts is now very much open economy and open venues, and so we look forward to seeing you all in person sometime very soon. So with that, just a very quick outline of the agenda. In a couple, just a minute or so, I'll be introducing Stephen Johnston from Open Cape Corporation. He'll be introducing Secretary Mike Keneally, the head of Team Massachusetts, and for welcome remarks. And then we'll go to our honorees, these 4 really incredible, outstanding, very interesting companies that we get to learn a little bit more about today, and we'll be having each company representative talk about their companies, provide a bit of a snapshot, and then we'll segue to a welcome trivia and Q&A, and so this is only a little scary for me as host to see how this will go, but it looks like a lot of fun, where we'll be sharing some trivia about our companies that we're welcoming and their host communities. And after that, Annie O'Connell, our Director of Communications, will be facilitating some Q&A with from all of you who are attending to our companies that we're welcoming. And so we look forward to that. Again, we want to get to know these companies as best we can, so we can help support them, and we can all work together here in Massachusetts. And finally, we look forward to remarks by Governor Charlie Baker, and he will be introduced by Doug Landry, who's the Boston office lead for Langen. Again, one of our sponsors, and Doug is also a member of the board of directors. And I also want to, one last recognition, want to note that our chair of our board, Denise McGeo of Citizens Bank, is also on the call, along with some other of our directors. And so I want to thank them all for joining us. So with that, let's jump right into the program. And first, for introductory remarks, very pleased to introduce Stephen Johnston, Chief Executive Officer of Open Cape Corporation. Stephen.
Thank you, Peter. I really appreciate it. Hello and good morning. I'd like to welcome all the new business attendees and also all the members of MassEcon. It is a pleasure to be able to address you all today. I realize that many of the new businesses we are talking about today or welcoming have actually been in the Commonwealth for some time now, and that's perfectly fine, as everything kind of feels new as we reemerge from our COVID isolation, COVID-imposed isolation. I think we're all filled with hope and anticipation and enthusiasm regarding what is possible moving forward, despite every business and industry seeing tremendous shifts and challenges over the last 16 months. Like our newcomers, Open Cape is a fairly recent member to MassEcon. We have grown significantly over the past 9 years since we went live. For those of you who may not be aware, in 2009, the Commonwealth invested $5 million in the formation of Open Cape, a nonprofit tech company located on the Cape. As I'm talking to you, I'm looking out the window at the Barnstable Harbor. So for those of you who are coming to the Cape this weekend, the weather looks nice. This critical early investment from the Commonwealth helped us secure an additional $32 million in federal funding through the Broadband Technology Opportunity Program. And we're incredibly thankful for the Commonwealth for the initial investment and proud to be able to go shepherd and steward this critical asset for our region. Over the past 16 months, we have confirmed that robust, reliable, affordable internet is essential and should be available to every resident. I think we all saw that. Regardless of income, race, ethnicity, or other demographic categories. And I want to personally thank the governor and the secretary for their ongoing commitment to ensure that every community in the Commonwealth has the opportunity to achieve their full potential and unencumbered by underperforming internet access. Since the inception of Open Cape, we've expanded our 100% fiber network from our original 350 miles to 550 map miles, over 100,000 fiber miles. Due to little interest from outside internet service providers stepping in and using our middle mile network, Open Cape responded by, we expanded our service to all 15 Cape towns, the islands, 40 towns off Cape in southeastern Mass, and sections of Rhode Island within our footprint. Basically, today we service hundreds of businesses, schools, municipalities, federal clients who require ultra reliable, redundant, state-of-the-art connectivity. And despite being in the midst of a pandemic, we launched our first residential pilot program last year. So for those of you who have houses on the Cape or visit the Cape recently, I'll expect a call later today about service probably. In response to the need, we launched a shared gigabit service, $55 a month for residents, $80 for small businesses in sections of Falmouth and Hyannis. All of this expansion and all of our growth on our ongoing operations have been achieved without any additional financial investment from the Commonwealth or taxpayers, yet it has appreciably improved the economic development outlook of our region. For example, in Falmouth, we partnered with the Economic Development Corporation, the Chamber of Commerce, and Mass Development to offer small business services on Main Street, who both Main Street, Falmouth, and Woods Hole, they were simply having trouble processing credit cards. That's how poor their internet connectivity was. In New Bedford, we're powering the city's municipal ring and helping them move terabits of data to the cloud on a weekly basis. We also power South Coast Health's network so they could utilize the latest in mammography technology, 3D mammograms, or tomosynthesis, that's a hard word to say, which enables radiologists to identify tumors at their earliest stages and actually save lives. Furthermore, the towns and municipalities we are actively trying to leverage our presence in their communities in order to better manage their own economic future. This is something that we need to support and encourage, as competition is really a very good thing for everyone. While Open Cape is really successful and flourishing, there's still much, much more we need to do. COVID demonstrated not only the need for continued infrastructure investment, but also saw the widening of the digital divide as we worked remotely, learned remotely, utilized telehealth, and really strained our public safety resources. The moment the pandemic impacted communities and our service footprint, we responded by offering all of our customers, 100% of them, completely free bandwidth upgrades as much as they needed. So if they had 100 megs and needed a gig, if they had a gig and needed 5 gigs, no problem. We've done that. We've extended those services, and over the past 16 months, we've given away over $500,000 in free bandwidth and discounted services. COVID really impacted those among us that are the most vulnerable, and we collectively must do better in the future to meet the needs and close the widening digital divide. As I learned about the businesses today we are welcoming, I found it reassuring to know we're adding new companies with great ideas and technology to our business community. It really is a new day for all of us as we look forward, and as such, today's event is timely. So I really hope you'll join me in celebrating our new arrivals. They've deserved it. And on that note, I am honored to introduce our Massachusetts team leader, a man who is shaping our future direction regarding growth, development, and innovation, Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, Michael Keneally. Thanks.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for that introduction. And Pete, thanks so much for bringing us together today. I'm so happy to hear this is the last virtual event MassEcon is going to have. Looking forward to getting back in person. And I want to thank MassEcon, as always, for being an incredible partner with us and helping to grow the Massachusetts economy. You're a truly valued member of Team Massachusetts, and always great to be part of a MassEcon event. I want to say a few words to a couple of groups of people here. First, Team Massachusetts. I love my role in helping to lead Team Massachusetts. This is an incredibly dedicated group of people, dedicated to making us the best place to start and grow a company of anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. It's a team that works really well together. And I love that we call it Team Massachusetts, because it really does embody how we get things done around here. You know, we're all about collaboration here in the Commonwealth. We're all about working together to get important things done. And Team Massachusetts does it every day, every week. And I'm so proud to lead that team. I also want to speak to the companies that we're celebrating today and say, look, what an incredible group of companies this is. And you look at what these companies do and where they're located, just what an incredible example of the strength and diversity of the Massachusetts economy. And it's so wonderful to have you here. And let me say, you've chosen well. I mean, look, we're an incredible state. We are one of the #1 states for innovation. We're a global leader in life sciences and software and advanced manufacturing and clean energy, the maritime economy, financial services. We have important leadership positions in so many globally important industry sectors. And here's a place you're going to find the talent. You know this already. You're going to find great talent. You're going to find great communities. And you're truly going to find a team dedicated to helping you grow your business here. You know, a couple of years ago, we embarked on a new economic development strategy. We called it Partnerships for Growth. And we use that term very purposely because that's how we operate. We operate in partnership. Our administration partners with the legislature, partners with the municipal government. There's great collaboration across government in Massachusetts. We partner with nonprofits and business leaders and community leaders. We work together to get things done to move this state forward. So it's wonderful to have these companies here. By the way, I think I've only had a chance to visit with EMA out in Pittsfield at the Berkshire Innovation Center, one of the few in-person events I did over the winter. Wonderful to see them. I'm looking forward at some point to meeting the rest of the companies here today. But it's wonderful to have you here. And please know, as you continue to grow your business here in Massachusetts, know what an incredibly committed partner you have in our administration. So great to be with you. Good luck. And please always reach out to Team Massachusetts if we can help you realize your aspirations here in the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Secretary Keneally. That was, I appreciate all those remarks about Team Massachusetts, about these incredible companies. And, you know, when we worked on selecting these companies, you know, there are a lot of reasons why they rose to the surface. But then as we've gotten to know them a little bit better since reaching out to them to participate in this, these are incredible companies, incredible technologies they're working with. And you can almost see them all working together on different things at some point as well. And that's part of that incredibly collaborative spirit that we have and that makes innovation happen. And so I also want to note, Mr. Secretary, we have we have a few representatives of some of our city and town partners. Mike Coakley is on, Economic Development Director in the city of Pittsfield, the aforementioned city of Pittsfield, also my hometown, as the case may be. And from Lowell, Eileen Donahue, City Manager, Christine McCall, and Assistant City Manager, and Marie Dickinson, Economic Development Specialists, are also online from Lowell. So we thank them for being with us as well. And Mr. Secretary, thanks so much. You're great. You are a great leader of Team Massachusetts. And during this pandemic, you've been a constant, consistent voice to the business community, for the business community, and we can't thank you enough.
I appreciate that, Pete. Brighter days are ahead. Looking forward to the work together. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we move on to the portion of our program where we get to hear directly from the companies, and we're going to proceed in this order. We're going to hear from Patrick Lucy, President and CEO of Lichen Bioscience. We're going to hear from Basil Garabet, President and CEO of NKT Photonics, who joins us from Copenhagen today. We're going to hear from Greg Wilson, Staff Scientist at EMA in Pittsfield, and Hugh Kelly, Chief Marketing Officer for ePropelled. And so they have some slides that I will share as they speak. And so let me first of all introduce Patrick Lucy.
Thank you, Peter. Had a little audio problems earlier. We're good. Can people hear me?
We can indeed. Excellent.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Peter and the efforts by MassEcon, Mass Bio Organization, the town of Hopkinton, Secretary Keneally, and the Baker administration for certainly creating a business-friendly environment in the state of Massachusetts. And, you know, I personally have spent the last 20 years of my career while still being a Massachusetts resident, founding and leading a biotechnology company on the other side of the country in San Diego, and was thrilled earlier this year when Lichen provided me the opportunity to join this team and lead this company based in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. And so it's been a pleasure working in the Commonwealth, and I think the incentives that were provided and just the business friendly nature of the Commonwealth has really allowed Lichen a great start as we build this business, and we're ahead of plan in terms of our build and expansion, and looking at further opportunities to continue to grow that the organization here in the state. If you can go to the next slide. So Lichen, just for the non-biotech folks on the call, so Lichen is a cell therapy contract development and manufacturing organization based here in Hopkinton, and as most of you know, the start of the Boston Marathon. And we, just to give a bit of context as to what we do, cell therapy products are essentially personalized medicine, where a person suffering from cancer or other type of disease, autoimmune disease, et cetera, we extract their cells, their immune cells. We then engineer those cells to specifically fight against the cancer that they're suffering from or the disease they're suffering from, and provide those cells right back to that same patient. That's essentially autologous cell therapy. So one for one, we receive the patient's cells here in Hopkinton, we process them and return them to the patient. There's also allogeneic cell therapy, where we get donor cells from people, and those products can be given to any person, not just one-to-one. But this is state-of-the-art where biotechnology is at these days, and it's cutting-edge technology. And we have the pleasure of working with some of the most innovative biotechnology companies in the world. And we support them in producing their products that are prepared for human use, both for clinical stages as well as commercial. This facility is an absolute state-of-the-art facility that was developed by a team that got the first cell therapy approved over a decade ago, founded by Anthony Ratuno, who's been in the manufacturing of biotechnology drugs for 45 years. And so I was the proud recipient of this team's effort to come into this facility in January of this year and start to build the business with a base of customers. We're approximately 23 miles, about a marathon's distance away from downtown Boston. And after a nationwide search of where we should locate this facility, we decided on Hopkinton. And there's a number of reasons for that. Obviously, being close to the largest biotech ecosystem in the world, that provides us with an experienced base of individuals that have industry experience, but also individuals that don't, that are coming out of leading academic institutions that are looking to start their careers. And I'm proud to say we had 4 interns here last year. We hired 3 out of 4. So we're doubling down there and bringing on hopefully up to 7 interns this year, and looking to train them and bring them on board once they get through to graduation. The other opportunity for the business is cell therapy is very logistic sensitive. There's a timeline to get these products back to patients. So being in the proximity of 3 international airports, Logan, TF Green, and Bradley in Connecticut, enables us to move product in and out of this site very efficiently. And not being downtown Boston, I'll tell you, I'd rather be driving west on the Mass Pike than east on the Mass Pike between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. So the location is quite nice. And the facility is state-of-the-art software systems. So it's all paperless work. So we can move what we call batch records back and forth to our partners very efficiently, because these products are released real time. They're tested and released as it's in transit back to the patient, and making sure that we meet the quality attributes of the product. And so this team, we're currently about 55, 56 strong, and we have a robust business development pipeline. And we expect to convert a lot of these business development deals in the second half of this year, and continue to hire quite aggressively here in the state. And so the state offers a lot of training programs for new folks to the industry, and also an environment of attracting people with a lot of experience. And so we're really excited here in Hopkinton to welcome new employees as we grow the business. You can go to the next slide. And just to put it into perspective, there's the beautiful facility we have, and really excited about the location, and great members of our team. These aren't stock photos. These are photos from our facility, and our team, and a great diverse team here at Lichen. And again, thrilled to be part of the biotechnology ecosystem of Massachusetts. And I'm personally thrilled to be back in the state leading a great team of individuals here for a great mission to deliver these therapies to the patients that need them.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, there are great photos, and again, you know, here at MassEcon, because so much of our work is site selection and assisting with that, to actually see the physical space is fantastic. So thank you for sharing all of this, and we'll be getting back to you with the questions a little bit later in the program. We're going to move on to our second company to welcome, and that is NKT Photonics. And Basil, it is your time to shine here from Copenhagen. Thanks so much for joining us and taking the time today. The floor is yours. We're happy to hear more about NKT.
Thanks, Peter, and thank you for allowing us to be on this forum, and thank you for selecting us. It's an honor. NKT Photonics is a manufacturer based here in Copenhagen of advanced lasers, and we have facilities right across Europe. We have headquarters here just outside Copenhagen, and we have facilities in Zurich in Switzerland, Cologne in Germany, and in Southampton in England. And when we wanted to expand into the US, Boston was very much the obvious selection for us. We have about 400 employees across the world and about $85 million in revenue last year. We are growing faster this year. We're showing, actually our first quarter, we had over 25% growth year on year. So looks like at least in the first couple of quarters, we're out of the COVID nightmare that we've been through right across. It's been a strange time for us. We opened our facility in Boston in 2019, and I was there for the opening, and I haven't been back, which is strange for me, having also not been in the US for a long time. I'm a US citizen despite my accent, also UK citizen. But I lived for 23 years in Boston in various other laser companies. So choosing Boston for me was the obvious solution. And if we go to the next slide, we can talk about a little bit more about the businesses that we're in. For me, Boston, and having started companies in Boston and worked for very large companies in Boston, I say Boston, I do mean the Commonwealth. I actually never actually worked in Boston. So I've worked in Bedford and Burlington and Acton and other of the cities around. So not to malign any of the other cities, but when it came to choosing Boston, it was for me an obvious one. You know, we are a high-tech company. We need advanced technology. We need people who have worked in advanced technology. We need access to research institutes, access to universities. I mean, Boston is probably the only city in the world that has 15 universities all around. I don't think anywhere else in the world that comes close. And obviously for us, being European and based in Copenhagen, it's also the nearest point to the US. And also, obviously, with time difference and everything else, it really was a no-brainer. And it was nice also to get all the help in finding the facilities and in choosing it. And for once, having worked all outside Boston, I actually got to choose to work inside Boston this time, albeit in the Seaport District. And it's a great facility. I think it's a very attractive facility. It's there so we can attract more talent. It's there so we can expand. We've got 17,000 square feet there of clean room and high-tech manufacturing. It's a small crew. Obviously, COVID hit us. We have about a dozen people there at the moment, but we hope to double and triple as we go along, as our business is showing that there's a great pull in what we do. If you look at the technologies we're in, you can also see how it fits in very quickly into the Commonwealth. A big pull for us is quantum and nanotechnology. There's a big amount of investment going in. Our lasers are used right into making all the new quantum computers in atom trapping and ion trapping and the various different optical sides of that. It's a great, exciting thing. It's also a good and sexy place to be, to hire more people. People like that. We also in medical and life science. I don't need to say very much about Boston. You can't be that far away from all these world-class institutions where we are. And obviously in the industrial and aerospace and defense, Massachusetts features large. So we're very happy to be in the area we're in. Our lifeblood is innovation, and our lifeblood is new ideas. And again, what can I say? It was a no-brainer decision to be in Boston, Massachusetts, and also means I can go back to Boston quite often and see all my old friends and everything else. But again, it'd be great to get back. In fact, I'm back next month, so looking forward to it.
Well, we look forward to your return, Basil. It's good. It's good to know, get to know the company a little bit more. And when you say a small footprint, 12 or so people, that's not a bad number at all. And we look forward to future growth opportunities for the company here in Massachusetts. And again, we're really delighted that you're able to join us today. And you mentioned the same business day. That's a real plus in terms of working, with European headquartered companies. We are in the same business day, and we have a shortest route to Boston in terms of major U.S. city, and so we're really. All those things are really asset, and you mentioned the innovative mix of industries here and the talent and so forth. And I think all of our speakers will probably touch on that. And so we appreciate those comments a great deal. So with that, let's move to the western part of the state for our next insights from EMA and Greg Wilson. Greg.
Hi, thank you. So EMA, generally we're headquartered out in Lakewood, Colorado. However, we have recently, within the last few years, namely 2019, started the venture of building an electromagnetics testing facility out in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Our company has been around for over 40 years, and we've been pioneers in using electromagnetic simulation to solve numerous challenging problems for numerous different platforms, from aerospace, protecting aircraft from lightning, to protecting satellites from electromagnetic radiation and space plasma. One of the things that we have developed and become world known in is EMA 3D cable. And EMA 3D cable allows us to model and simulate the effects of electromagnetic fields from pulses, lightning strikes, interference from numerous electrical devices, and see how those couple across cables and how that might impact the performance of your hardware, and how that might even be able to be hardened or protected from lightning strikes. We are recently, in more recent years, have pushed to expand our capabilities into the space sector, and recently have built a team out here in Pittsfield. There are 4 of us now out here in Pittsfield. And out here, we are building a facility that will allow us to test the effects of the space environment on components and other satellite features. If you go to the next page, I believe we have some pictures of the lab. So here are the two main locations. Lakewood, Colorado is the headquarters where most of the company resides and where the development of a lot of the simulation tools have been built. And that was the main beginning of the company is through simulation as well as consulting to helping our customers such as the SpaceX and the Air Force and NASA through numerous different complicated problems. And then out here in Western Massachusetts, we have an office space in the Berkshire Innovation Center in Pittsfield. And within that, in the Berkshire Innovation Center is where we have our space environment radiation effects lab, which is a picture on the next slide. So here's our team on the left. Standing next to the chamber, we're currently in the process of outfitting this chamber with the various sources to be able to recreate the space environment. One thing that's kind of novel about this is that this type of testing isn't necessarily new. It's been done by the Air Force, it's been done by NASA, smaller scale in academia, but there has yet to be a commercial facility that can offer its services to industry. And we saw this gap as the expansion of space has occurred over the last several years, where you have big names such as Blue Origin and SpaceX. And with that expansion of the commercial industry into space, there was a lack of availability for this type of testing. And so we decided that this was an area where we had expertise and where we could satisfy the demands of our customers. And so we will be building this chamber to replicate the several environments that are found in space through vacuum, temperature changes, electromagnetic radiation, space plasma, etc. And then we'll test, analyze, and compare with our simulation tools to be able to help customers develop, protect, and ensure that their equipment and components and novel materials are able to withstand the harsh environments of space. One of the other things that we are going to also be doing in this lab is developing several of the tools that we are going to be using in this lab, in this chamber, and then making those available to outside customers. For example, some of the electron sources that we'll be using will have to be custom made. And so being able to manufacture those and provide those to customers provides a valuable tool where a lot of these are so specialized that it can be difficult to even find the expertise to be able to build them. And so by coupling this test facility with our already healthy consulting and simulation company, this will be able to create a perfect marriage between testing and simulation and consulting to be able to help the next generation of companies that are trying to expand into the space sector.
Amazing. Great. That's really exciting in terms of prospects in the commercial space. And yeah, I will only share with regard to your location in Pittsfield and being in this whole new potential industry that you're working in. Not a little over 100 years ago, Pittsfield was the center, the epicenter for another emerging commercial industry, and it's called electricity and the flow of electricity over power lines. And a little company called William Stanley Works in Pittsfield, which was bought by a small company called General Electric, and the rest is history. So congratulations on everything that you're doing at the test facility and in Pittsfield. And again, we look forward to talking to you a little bit further into the program. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is from ePropel. Hugh Kelly is Chief Marketing Officer. Hugh, we're very glad that you're able to join us, and we look forward to hearing a little bit more about ePropel.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. We're honored and delighted to be here today, and kind of excited about the future. We describe our company as the future of electric propulsion, and e-mobility, as an example, is going to be critical to really kind of solving a lot of the climate change problems that we as a society and the world face. Certainly, the Commonwealth has been a leader in addressing those issues, like with the Massachusetts Decarbonization Roadmap. And we're delighted to see that the federal government is now falling in line and taking the lead from Massachusetts and stressing a lot of goals to be able to reduce greenhouse gases. And the simple reason is 40% of all emissions in the US are from the transport sector. If we don't address that, we're going to have severe problems. And this is an opportunity for us to bring innovation to it. And certainly Massachusetts has been known as a seat of innovation for a very long time. Can we go to the next slide, please? Certainly electric vehicles are gaining in popularity, but they still represent 2 to 3% of global sales, and they tend to be at the luxury end of the market. In order for us to see electric vehicles become economical, viable, and to meet all of the goals that have been at the state and federal level, not to mention worldwide, we need to see innovations in all of these areas, and we are. But the electric propulsion systems, the electric motors, have not changed the technology radically since they were invented decades ago. We are actually bringing substantial innovation to that, and kind of our core patent is a concept called electromagnetic gearing, which actually allows us to use artificial intelligence and a computer to control how the motor actually operates in different modes. And that translates into a very substantial performance improvement. And what that really means is manufacturers can get greater range with smaller batteries, making the cars more economical and meeting the performance goals of the consumers who want to buy them. And we are actually going to be launching that product at a trade show in the UK this September. So we're very close to bringing it out to market. But we were talking to a customer that's in the flying car or eVTOL space. And one of the things we stress to them is all of this really revolves around moving things. And so our technology is being applied in the air. We're talking to eVTOL companies, some of whom are based in the Commonwealth, as well as other UAV or drone manufacturers. Pumps are an issue for us because all of these things need to be cooled and you need to move coolant around. So pump technology, a very kind of prosaic technology, is actually integral to making all of this work. Not everyone gets to drive cars. Micromobility, 2- and 3-wheelers in particularly India need to go through a full e-mobility transition. And obviously the generational change that is resulting in changing over to electric vehicles is really going to change things very dramatically. So we're really excited about the opportunity. Can we go to the next slide, please? But we think of ourselves first and foremost as a technology company. We've grown since our founding in 2018 to 60 employees. Our founder, Nick Brule, who you see there in the upper right-hand corner with our CTO, Nabil Sharazi, he acquired Nabil's company out of the UK, and that's where our first patents came from. To date, we have filed for 9 patents, 2 of which have been granted. And out of our 60 employees, 7 hold PhDs, including, and unfortunately can't say he's our most recent hire anymore, one from UMass Lowell. So the reason for Massachusetts was, if you're a technology company, you get to bring innovation to market. You're a high value add company. You're not competing to be the low cost manufacturing company. And that requires the talent base that's here in Massachusetts. We firmly believe that from our headquarters in Lowell, in an old mill building, right across the street from where the Bay State Marathon starts. So I'm starting to see a theme here among all of these. I don't think it's a requirement to have a marathon near your headquarters, but we're delighted to be in the Commonwealth and expect to be able to do great things as we grow the company.
Thank you, Hugh. Yeah, and quite a reach there in terms of other facilities, and the proximity to UMass Lowell, I'm sure does have some tangible benefits for you, and that's of course an incredible strength for Massachusetts, the power of its research universities, of which there are many. Massachusetts is, as many of you know, leads in per capita federal research dollars coming to our institutions, and those are competitive awards coming to Massachusetts higher education institutions, and our universities compete extremely well. So on a per capita basis, we're off the charts. So I want to thank each of our speakers from each of the companies for their comments. It is good to get to know these companies all a little bit better. And as part of that, we are now going to move to a different part of the program. Now, first of all, we want to make sure that you take advantage of the chat room function here on Zoom. And I have a ton of questions for our company speakers, and I'm sure folks in the audience do as well. So feel free to start offering those questions in the chat room. You can do that to everybody so that everybody sees your question, or you could address those specifically to Annie, and Annie will be facilitating the Q&A session. Now, before the Q&A, we're going to do a little trivia. And the trivia will be about these companies that we are welcoming now to Massachusetts, and also about their host communities. So I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to turn it over to Tegan Gata, who is our events coordinator, and she is going to make this trivia thing work miraculously. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So you should all see now on the screen. We're ready for trivia. I'm really excited about this. So you will need an iPhone or potentially your dashboard to log in. But if you go to the website right at the top of the screen here, menti.com, it will ask you for the quiz code, which you can also see here at the top of the screen. So as you plug that in, you can see now different attendees are joining. So everyone is going to get their own little avatar, which is fun. And as we go through these questions, the quiz will be scored. So whoever answers the question correctly and the fastest will get the highest amount of points. And at the end of this, we should be able to see who our winners are. So I'll give everyone a few minutes.
And there's
here.
a lot riding on this, Tegan. A MassEcon coffee mug will be sent to your place of business, to your care, or to your home, as the case may be. So the top three participants, I should say the top three in terms of correct answers, you'll all be getting a MassEcon coffee mug. Back to you, G.
So perfect. Keep joining in at the end. We should see your name on the screen if you're in that top three category. If you put in a different name, it might pop up as something different. And as we move through the questions, you'll have about 15 seconds to answer. So at the top of the screen, you'll see the question, and at the bottom, the different selections. So I'm going to go ahead and start the countdown here. And we should be able to get going. So once again, the fastest answer gets the most points. The first question, NKT Photonics uses fused silica glass that is processed into fiber at almost 2000 degrees Celsius. What is the melting point of stainless steel? Okay. Perfect. So you can see, you'll see the correct answer. 10 people answered correctly, and the answer to that question is 1500 degrees Celsius. So good job, everyone who got that right. And we're moving on to question 2. One of our honorees is located in a community that makes a strong claim as the birthplace of baseball. Which is it? Pittsfield, Lowell, Hopkinton, or Boston? Ooh, 20 people got that right. Good job. The correct answer was Pittsfield. Question 3. This company offers 8 independent manufacturing suites uniquely designed to fully integrate CGMP principles. Is that EMA, Lichen, or E-propelled? 20 people got that right. Good job. Question 4. Lowell, home of E-propelled, is also home to UMass Lowell. Where does UMass Lowell rank among U.S. universities in intellectual property generation? 45th, 77th, or 13th? 22 of you said 13th, and you were correct. Question 5, halfway through. The Board of Selectmen in one of our host towns sends a welcome letter to every new resident. Which town is it? Hopkinton, Lowell, Pittsfield? One of you said Hopkinton, and you got that correct. Who works with a 3D finite difference time domain FDTD solver? Is that Lichen, E-propelled, EMA, or NKT photonics? Eleven of you got that right, and the correct answer was EMA. That was a tricky question. Question 7. Boston, home of NKT Photonics, built the first subway in North America. In what year did it begin operations? 1897, 1906, or 1912? 15 of you got that right. Good job. Question 8. Who does supercontinuum generation? A hint, if you got one of the former questions right, you should be able to figure out this one. Good job. 13 of you got that correct. 9 out of 10. Which company has expertise in magnetic engineering? Is it E-propelled, EMA, or Lichen? $19 of you said E-propelled and got that correct. We are moving on to our last question, 10 out of 10. Then we will name the winners. These companies have facilities separated 1,848 miles, 3,647 miles, and 7,686 miles. Which company has operations separated by 7,686 miles? 4 of you got that right and said Eve propelled. Good job. That was a tricky question. A lot of numbers. Here is the leaderboard. Looks like Hugh is in the lead with 7,449 points. So congratulations, you are our winner. And I will hand this back over to Pete and Annie. Annie will be doing the Q&A, and we will write down our top winners for the MassEcon mug. Congratulations and good job, everyone.
Before Annie takes over with the Q&A, I guess I have a question to the companies. Did we get any of those answers wrong? I saw I think it's the second to last. I thought that was EMA, not E-propelled, but I could be wrong. Any comment from either E-propelled or EMA on that one?
Yeah, magnetic engineering is another way to talk about motor design. So E-propelled is correct, and we were able to get the long distance because of the Chennai office.
All right. Well, thank you. All right, on to Annie. Annie, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Thanks. That was fun. So the first question that I have is from Doug Landry with Lichen, and he has a question for Greg. So Greg, how does climate change affect the modeling of your product?
For us, the only driver would be as people are looking for new and novel materials and trying to find sustainable materials. So for us, it doesn't necessarily affect us directly.
Okay. And then actually another question for you. So people are curious to know what it's like working in the space industry.
Other than it gives us more work as novel materials are looked at. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. I love the fast innovation. I love being able to network and work with a lot of companies like SpaceX and Boeing and ATK and Blue Origin and Amazon and being able to watch the news and seeing something launch up to space and knowing that you had part in that is really exciting.
Yeah, it is really exciting. It's great. And we have another question. This is actually for any or all of the speakers. If you could just touch on the topic of attracting talent to your company in Massachusetts and sort of how you work to recruit talent.
I can take that. I think that we are absolutely trying to attract folks, obviously that are in Cambridge and in the greater Boston area in biotechnology companies. But I think where we see the greatest opportunity is the new graduates. We see a lot of universities that are pushing their students to do internships, and we got bombarded with internship requests. And so I think to us that is a great opportunity to engage young up and coming professionals late in their college careers, to expose them to the industry and then attract them to a culture like Lichen's. And again, I mentioned in my remarks that we had 4 interns last year and hired 3 of them. The 4th went on to continue his education, and this year we're expanding that program. And the maturity of these young adults is unbelievable. I'm just happy I went to college when I did, because if I went now, I'd be in a lot of trouble. So I think that to me is a great opportunity in Massachusetts with all the universities around and with the life sciences background. So I think that's where we really focus, but also creating a culture here at Lichen that people enjoy work and they want to come to work and work with their colleagues. But the universities is definitely a great area for opportunity.
Definitely. I know that Massachusetts is definitely seen as a great place to go to school with all of the colleges and universities, and being able to retain that talent is really important. So people come to school here, but then giving them attractive options for work once they've graduated. Hugh or Greg or Basil, do either of you have anything that you'd like to share in terms of recruiting talent to work at your companies in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I can speak from ePropel's perspective. One of the things that we do see younger people looking at, we are interested in bringing in kind of that new generation of talent, is what is the social mission of the company? That is really meaningful. How are you, what industries are you working in? So space is exciting, but so is the social mission of, helping, things be a lot greener. And I think that's an important consideration for anybody looking to attract talent.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But the problem worldwide is that talent is in short supply. And this is not an issue just in the US. It is also an issue all over Europe. I think especially in high tech, and especially in like I said, attractive industries like quantum and lasers, talent is in very short supply. So I mean, that was also one of the reasons we are in Boston, is to be closer to all the right institutions and closer to a lot of people in the industry to be able to attract that talent. NKT is got a very good reputation in the industry, and we find that people want to join us, but finding them is very, very difficult. And being a European company in the US, we don't have the networks as such. The individuals that we have the networks. So we in general depend on headhunters as such to look for talent. And I think that's an issue, and I think you'll find it an issue everywhere, but specifically in high tech today.
Yeah, Greg here, commenting on that as well. We have found hiring out in Colorado is fairly easy because we're right next to Colorado School of Mines and University of Boulder, Colorado. And I assume it's fairly similar when you go out to Eastern Massachusetts. But in Western Massachusetts, we have found it is quite difficult to get talent out here. And so that is one of the things that we are being challenged with currently, is trying to find new and excited talent, even though it's a very exciting and new job and it's very easy to hire for our company. It's hard still to hire out in Western Massachusetts. And a lot of that too is simply the visibility. If you are around the Boston area, you have a lot higher visibility as people are looking for jobs nearby. But oftentimes we don't even come up on the radar simply because of location, not necessarily because of the quality or necessity of work.
We actually have a question related to the different types of locations within Massachusetts. This is a question from Maria Dickinson with the city of Lowell. And she asks, what can Massachusetts and gateway cities continue to do to be competitive and help companies grow here? And she also would like to know what has changed doing business after COVID-19 for each of you. Anything good or bad that you could share with us? So that's open to any of the companies.
Well, I think the obvious one is obviously to continue to try to be competitive from a tax basis perspective, and certainly and support the expansion of these companies in the state. We're an organization or a technology that is geographic sensitive. So the question we have is, as we grow, do we grow locally, or what do we do next? And so I think just creating a solid business environment is important. I think there are a fair amount of biotechnology training programs in the Commonwealth that certainly support existing and future talent. But I think that it's also just getting these students that are late in their college careers and trying to keep them in the state and not returning to where they came from. We obviously, the universities are a magnet to this state, but trying to retain them in the state is going to be really important. And to Greg's point, we aren't in the westernmost part of this state, but I'm not kidding when I say that I'm driving westbound on the Mass Pike and I look over to that eastbound lane and I just feel bad for those people. And so I do think that growing this ecosystem beyond directly downtown Boston and Cambridge, and really trying to find ways to allow this to spread, it will help the state in terms of the traffic issues we see going into the city every morning. In terms of COVID, I will tell you that we are a manufacturing organization, so we really had to strategize around how we kept this site running, while also keeping our employees safe. And in every instance, we chose the latter when making our policies. And I'm proud to say that, on June 1st, we were 100% back here in this site. We were 100% vaccinated as well. And so we really had to get that done to keep this site operational, because when you're manufacturing these type of products, you can't have a shutdown. It's not acceptable. So, but COVID did indicate, or did prove to us, that even if we were separate, we were still together as a team, and we will continue to leverage these type of technologies to allow people to have a more flexible work environment. Again, with the new generation coming up, they have very different needs than dinosaurs like myself. So giving people the ability to work remote when their family needs require it, or what have you, using these new tools will really make that a reality, and we will definitely have a progressive view on that going forward.
I can speak on that too. Like you mentioned earlier, tax incentives and local community support is one of the major reasons why EMA is in Pittsfield. If we wouldn't have had all of the tax incentives and support, it is very unlikely that we would have set up a remote office out here and simply built another one in Lakewood. And so that is a huge part in, I think, incentivizing and growing the local communities, is offering that incentive, and also the support and the encouragement and the excitement that we have found here. I have been absolutely just astounded at the support from a local level clear up to the state level, being able to work with the people in the Senate and the House, and how that has absolutely been game-changing for us. And so that has been absolutely influential. And moving on to the COVID aspect of things, that was another thing that we absolutely had support in all aspects of that. Everyone working at the Berkshire Innovation Center, and then because in space, the timelines in space are on the order of decades. And so even if there's a year where things are more difficult and work has things that kind of get a wrench thrown in them, in the space industry, you can't stop. And so with that, we all went and worked from home, but a lot of our work actually picked up. So that way we could make sure that we were able to finish deadlines and continue to make sure that we were on task. So that way, when we came back into the office, we didn't fall behind at all. And so that's been actually somewhat beneficial for all the support and the ability to be able to work remotely.
Thank you all for sharing your thoughts on that. So we have time for one more question before we get to Doug Landry and Governor Baker. So this is actually a question from our board chair, Denise McGee of Citizens. And so this is a question for all of the panelists, all of the honoree companies. If you had to pick one feature that allowed Massachusetts to stand out in the site selection process, what would it be, and what is lacking or could be improved?
I could start, I guess. Like I said, we chose Massachusetts because of the proximity to talent and proximity to the universities that produce that talent. And the great thoughts and then the great people that came out of it. Like I said, there are not many cities in the world like Boston that has 15 universities around it. So I think that's a no-brainer. What can be improved from our side, I mean, we didn't choose it because of tax or anything like that. You know, its talent is far more important to us at this stage. You know, we manufacture very high-end sort of advanced technology products. So it's not something where we need a tax break. You know, I think the products and the services we provide speak for themselves. What would be nice would be to improve, you know, the infrastructure in Boston, improve communication, improve the roads, fewer cars, more public transport. You know, my eyes were open when I moved to Copenhagen. Having spent 23 years living in downtown Boston and commuting also westwards out to various places, live in a city now where more than half the population, which is about the size of Boston, commute by bicycle. About 20 or 30 or 40% commute by public transport. I'm still the dinosaur who drives a car, by the way, but there are very few cars around, even in rush hour, comparatively. You know, young people don't want to drive. Young people want to cycle, catch public transport, and live in a greener world. I think that's a thing that Massachusetts should lead on. And that's another reason we're in Massachusetts, because it is a leader in the US and the world for newer ideas and newer technologies and newer ways of running cities. It's, I think that's what we'd like to see more of.
I think for Lichen, it was also talent for sure, but also proximity to collaborators, customers, as well as courier, you know, setups with the airports and stuff. So the location was really important. And in terms of improvement, again, I do think much like we definitely would love to see the state encourage more expansion outside of the city downtown. And how do we, this could come down to transportation, but how do we get more expansion outside of the city proper or in Cambridge? And because there's a huge amount of opportunity here, but building up various satellite, you know, biotech centers or ecosystems would be really beneficial, both from a quality of life perspective around these people commuting, but also you know, expanding opportunity for folks. And so that to me would be an opportunity to see how we can grow satellite communities outside of the city from an industry perspective, whether it be biotech or any of these other industries.
So Hugh or Greg, I know both of your companies are located in gateway cities. Is there anything that you would like to share in terms of what stood out in the site selection process and in locating in your communities of Pittsfield and Lowell? Or what could be improved in that process, that site selection process?
Right, yeah, so I think where, you know, our concern about Lowell is that it's great for hiring older workers. It's a little tougher to hire younger workers who do want to be inside an urban area where mass transit is more readily available. It's that, you know, a little bit of an overgeneralization, but so it does limit us in some regards. So seeing the mass transit system expand so that it goes from maybe both directions would be a huge advantage. And the reality is a company like ours couldn't afford to be in Boston or Cambridge. We can't afford to compete with the life sciences companies. We're going to have to build a manufacturing facility at some point. And our immediate thought was there's lots of space around Lowell. We're actually already talking to our landlord about expanding the footprint just within our offices. And, you know, we certainly have the advantage of having talent locally from UMass Lowell, but the students there come from all over because it is a destination. And that's a great strength, but, you know, it's a challenge for us to retain those young people and then draw on the tech-friendly workforce, you know, the software talent that maybe, you know, doesn't want to work in networking and routers anymore the way like I did, and have now moved over to, you know, a kind of a new challenge, and that seems to be meaningful. But also Massachusetts has that whole ecosystem, right? It's the research universities, it's that constant flux of talent, it's all of the people that we rely on, everyone from PR companies to contract manufacturers. There's a big advantage of having that concentration here. So maintaining and cultivating that, I think, is also important. And let's not forget the people that we will go to for investment. And, that's a critical element as well. It's that whole combination of things that make Massachusetts attractive. It's not just any one. Talent may be the trump card, but it can't really be the only thing.
Thanks, Hugh. Greg, do you have any comments before we go to the governor?
Yeah, it's just one comment on that, and I think it goes back kind of in contrast in Western Massachusetts, where we have a lot of the local support, but we don't have that ecosystem that draws in younger talent. Western Massachusetts, it's beautiful in its own right, but generally the younger talent isn't necessarily attracted to this area due to just a kind of a different dynamic. And so ways to foster that growth and to foster the budding technological industries and bringing in talent, not just for us, but for all of the companies around this area, would help foster that whole ecology that would attract young talent, not just to a specific company, but to the area in general.
It's great to get all of your different perspectives and have the representation from all of these different industries and all of these different parts of the state. So thank you all for sharing some insight into your experience, and thanks again for choosing to locate in Massachusetts. So with that, I will turn it back to Pete Aber.
Thank you all. That was I appreciate all the answers. And again, getting to know a little bit more about each company. So we're at the point now, we look forward to hearing from Governor Charlie Baker. And to make that introduction, I'm pleased to introduce Doug Landry, Associate in Boston Office Lead for Lichen. Doug.
Thank you, Pete. And thank you, everybody, for sticking it out here and being part of this today. Lichen and EMA and NKT and ePropelled, welcome to Massachusetts. Thanks for choosing Massachusetts. Like everybody, I'm sure we wanted this to be in person. Looking forward to that. Although I'm a little apprehensive. About a couple weeks ago, I had to go to an event and put on a tie, and I literally stood in front of the mirror and forgot how to tie it. I'm not kidding. So maybe COVID has accelerated a fashion trend here in terms of tieless wardrobe. Looking at the folks on the screen here, so a little scary. Just also wanted to say thanks to all the public sector partners that joined us this morning, Secretary Keneally and your staff, Peter, Sue, and Kevin and Margaret, thanks for joining. I see Jessica and Rob Anderson and Kelly from Mass Development. Great, you can join us too, and John Glennon from the MBTA. John, you probably heard a lot about quality of life and transit and the importance of infrastructure here to the state. So, take that back to 10 Park Plaza, and let's get some infrastructure investment going in the state here. So again, Doug Landry, I'm the Boston office lead for Lichen Engineering. We're a full service engineering company. We serve private sector development clients with all their projects in life sciences and e-commerce for sure, affordable housing projects, all different kinds of development types and development clients. Just keeping on the marathon route continuum here. We're actually at the Pru and right on the marathon route. So, we'll tie it all together here. In some ways, I think Lichten's kind of one of you folks in terms of the new companies. Although I've been around a long time in this market, Lichen has not. We've been here for about 2 years and grown the office from 2 people literally 2 years ago to 28 people today. So we know what it's like the challenges to grow and find success doing that in this stage. So I think I feel some of your challenges and opportunities that you've gone through the past couple of years. We're very pleased to be sponsoring this event. It's one of my favorite of the year. And most importantly, just being part of Team Massachusetts. You heard a lot about being Team Massachusetts and then becoming part of this state ecosystem. And I do think that when you become part of the Massachusetts ecosystem, you kind of have a friend for life here. It may be hard to get in the door, but once you're here, I think you'll see that Massachusetts is a great place to stay and grow, and we hope you all do. As a member of the MassEcon board, I know we're especially grateful that Governor Baker has been involved in every one of these corporate welcome events since we started them. I also chair the Government Relations Committee for MassEcon, and I can say that Governor Baker's leadership and most importantly his partnership on economic development is a testament to how government can function effectively in a very collaborative and bipartisan manner. I'm sure folks know, Massachusetts is not an entirely blue state. Governor Baker is a Republican. He has to deal with a Democratic legislature. But I think one of the secret ingredients we have here in Massachusetts is that it functions very well, and it's a stable political environment, which I think means a lot to some of the risks that companies look for, when they're making their site selection decisions. Governor Baker has been one of the most popular governors in America, and that's for a reason. But I got to say, very impressively through the COVID crisis here, he has skillfully and tirelessly led us through this crisis. Very thoughtful plan to close down the state, and even a more thoughtful plan to reopen it. Very measured and based on science and based on the facts. He's been up in front of the lectern almost every day, giving us updates and leading us through here, so that we can be ready to grow even better, coming out of this. So in this very trying year, we are pleased that the governor has taken the time to join us, although by video. I'm sure he wishes this was in person as well, to meet each and every one of you, shake your hands, get a photo op, as we all do. But this is the next best thing. So nevertheless, he's not here personally, but I'm very happy to introduce Governor Baker in his remarks. And thanks again for being in Massachusetts.
Morning, this is Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. Doug, I want to thank you for that introduction, and I also want to point out that a couple of members of our team are present today, virtually, HED Secretary Mike Keneally and Dan Rivera of Mass Development. I'm glad to once again be able to join you for the annual Massachusetts Corporate Welcome Brunch. Now, in years past, this happened at the end of the day, not in the middle of the day, and I had a chance to attend this event in person at the Genzyme and Sanofi headquarters. It was a great opportunity to welcome new businesses to Massachusetts and to thank them for their decision to invest in our Commonwealth. Here in Massachusetts, we're fortunate to have such a robust business ecosystem with our many nation-leading research institutions that are helping us drive innovation and a strong pipeline of talent and venture capital to power growth and develop the next game-changing innovations. As our economy reopens, thanks to our success getting so many of our people vaccinated, we're confident that this positions us for a strong recovery and a return to the booming economy that we had before the pandemic struck. We're also encouraged by the decision of each of these companies being recognized today for their decision to invest in Massachusetts despite all the challenges of the last year. Your investment's a testament to all that makes Massachusetts such a great place to do business and the brighter days that we will have in front of us. We look forward to working with you as you build your footprint here in Massachusetts and as we continue to focus on powering our economy forward. I want to thank everybody once again for doing this year after year and giving these new companies an opportunity to say hello and for us to welcome them as part of our quote-unquote team here in Massachusetts. And I look forward to having a chance to do this again next year, but hopefully in person. And please enjoy the rest of the program.
We can most certainly enjoy the rest of the program because it will be very brief at this point. And we certainly thank first, Doug Landry, thank you for that introduction, and also to the governor. The governor, as he indicated, has been a steadfast supporter of this process where we do welcome companies to Massachusetts. It's something we are compelled to do because we appreciate your being here so much. And so for one last time, thank you, Lichen Bioscience, and NKT Photonics, and EMA, and ePropel. And I hope what you've gathered, each of you today with this welcome brunch, is that there is a big team of support here for you as those next decisions are made in your business plans. There is a great reservoir of assistance here to tap into, and we look forward to working with you in the future. So in wrapping up this event, again, thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Open Cape again and Langen for their sponsorship and continued support of MassEcon. Want to mention a couple upcoming events. We have a business brunch, which is our Ready Mass 100 tutorial. For those of you who don't know, these are all of the incredible sites that are ready to go in Massachusetts for new locations, as existing buildings ready, move-in ready, Class A or above. So this is a tutorial on how that enhanced Ready Mass platform works. We have a Ready Mass 100 showcase where we'll be highlighting new, restocking our Ready Mass list of 100 properties, and so we invite folks to attend that as well. And we will be holding our Team Massachusetts Economic Impact Awards on Tuesday, November 23rd of this year. That will be an in-person event, and we're seeking nominations. And I can think of a couple right offhand based on this conversation today. But we're looking for companies that have added jobs and significant facility investments in Massachusetts that bring a great community involvement and have diversity inclusion practices in place. We're looking for those companies so that we can recognize them at our Economic Impact Awards event in November. And that nomination form is live now on our website. If you go to massecon.com, top of the page, there's a link to the nomination form. So spread the word. If you have nominations in mind, or people who should have nominations in mind, please let them know that now is the time to submit those nominations. With that all said, I think that is my last slide. I'll share no more. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, especially our companies that we've welcomed today. You enhance and enrich the Commonwealth of Massachusetts by being here, and we look forward to getting to know you even more and getting to celebrate future expansions in Massachusetts in the years ahead. So with that, everybody have a great day. Thanks to all of our participants. Have a great week, and look forward to seeing you again in the future in person. Take care.
Thank you, Peter and team.